video, kids, because I kept doing the wrong mental math, which is funny. So this is Unit 2, Lesson 4, Absolute Value. Now, when you think about absolute value, I want you to think about distance. Distance is something that can never be negative, right? Because you're not going back in time. So let's just pretend, here's Houston, here's Austin, and here's Dallas. We're going to go, let's just say Austin is at -8, and Dallas is at 7, and Houston's at 0. If I travel to Dallas, it's going to be 7, a distance of 7. If I go to Austin, I'm traveling 8. Even though it's in a negative direction, I'm still doing a positive distance because I'm not going back in time or going through a wormhole or going, backwards. I am still moving forward. So here I am. Let's just say that I'm a little person and I'm just walking, and I walk all the way to school. Once I get to school and I turn around and I walk back home, I'm still walking 1 mile to school and 1 mile back home. It's still a positive distance. Does that make sense? So what I'm doing is I'm always going to be having a positive outcome. So if I have something like x plus, I'm going to do an easy one this time because I kept doing the wrong number, which is funny, not funny. X plus 5 equals 10. So I could say, let me do blue. What number plus 5 equals 10? Well, I know that 5 plus 5 equals 10. But since this is absolute value, no matter what my answer is, it's going to come out positive. So 5 plus 5 is actually positive 10. But what if I had negative 15 here? What is negative 15 plus 5? It's negative 10, right? So, but anything in absolute value has to come out and be positive. No matter what it is, it has to come out and be positive. So, you have to always have two answers when it comes to absolute value problems. That's why the way you structure it is like this. Let me move this over and show you. The way I would do it is I would say, here's my problem, x plus 5 equals 10. When I go to solve absolute value, I'm going to see, well, what is it in the positive situation and what is it in the negative situation? So I'm going to say x plus 5 equals 10 and x plus 5 equals negative 10. That's going to tell me the two things that could be in place of x. So here we go. We're just solving for x, minus 5, x equals 5, right? Boom. Is that one of them? Yes, it is. X plus 5 equals negative 10, minus 5, right? This one canceled out, and that's negative 15. So look. Boom. There it is. So those are my two answers. So let's just say I had something like a little more complicated. Let's say I had 3x plus 5 equals 24. I just made this up, so of course it's not going to be, probably a friendly answer, but I'm going to add a little bit more stuff to it anyway. Minus 7 equals 35. Let's just do that. Now, what my goal is when I'm solving things like this in Algebra 2 is I'm going to say I have to get it to look like absolute value equals a number, just like we did earlier over here. We said the absolute value of x plus 5 equals 10. So I'm going to try to make mine look like that as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is move my 7 over. 35 plus 7 is 42. So that's gone, and I did that. And that equals 3x plus 5. See, I'm just doing algebra. Now I need to get rid of everything else. Well, I still have to get rid of the 2. Well, that 2 is multiplying, right? So I'm going to say divide by 2, and that gets rid of it. Do it to one side, I do it to the other. So 3x plus 5 equals 21. 42 divided by 2 is 21. So now I still have my absolute value. Now I can separate it into my positive and negative. 3x plus 5 equals 21. 3x plus 5 equals negative 21. And then I'll be able to get my answer. So let's go ahead and just solve for x. Minus 5 cancels out. 21 minus 5 is 16. I think I did that right. I'm not a mental math giant. Divide by 3, x could equal 16/3. That's one answer it could be. Or minus 5, that would be 26. Okay, divide by 3, x could equal negative 26/3. Those are the two answers that I could have. Do you see how that worked? I had to get everything away from the absolute value signs. That was my goal. So I'm just going to put that on here. My goal is to get everything away from the absolute value signs, because you want it to be absolute value equals, some sort of number. Okay, and then once you get that, you split it into the two parts, and I'm going to do that with a highlighter. You split it to one side and you split it to the other. You split it to the positive side where it's positive 21, and you split it to the negative side where it's negative 21. And then you just solve this side and you solve this side, and that's how you get your two answers. So your final answers are 16/3, negative 26/3. So that's kind of just how you do absolute value. So yours on let's look at your assignment. It just is vocabulary. You just check back up at the top what means what. Find the distance between the points. Well, distance is always positive. Distance is always positive. So when you're looking at these problems and you've got negative answer choices, well, you're not going back in time in a time machine like in Back to the Future, are you? So you can't choose a negative answer. And then on number 6, it wants you to solve just like we did, where you do the negative and the positive, and you have two answers. And don't forget, when you have these squares on your assignments, it means that you can check more than one. And for instance, with absolute value, look, we just found two answers here, right? So don't forget, if they're square boxes, it's more than one answer is possible. And if they are circles, then it's only one answer. Don't forget that, because a lot of kids are like, why do I keep missing this? And I'm not getting all my full credit. Well, that's why, kids. And also, check your sign, check your inequality sign to make sure you kept that in the right direction.